Hello there.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Sky Guys podcast. We are back for another double episode of The Bad Batch. Here we're recapping episode 10 and 11 today from season 3. Identity Crisis and the Point of No Return. Your host, Mike Phillips. You know, Pete Consadori is here doing narration, but he is off for this week. Joining me as always here, I'm going to call him the mayor of Pabu. Nick Fraietta is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. We had some great episodes to watch this morning slash today. Excited to talk about them. We're wrapping up season almost. We got only a few more weeks to go.
Yep, also here with us today. A great guest. We started before on the podcast. His first time coming on The Bad Batch with us. Joe Simone is here. Joe, how are you?
I'm well. I'm glad to be back. Love the batch as I actually read today when I was looking up the episode guide. I was like, oh, I feel like I haven't heard them being referred to just the batch. I like that.
Yeah, so like obviously for people who have not like heard you before, like what's your familiarity with this show? So like what drew you to Bad Batch?
I just think the clone, realm or however you want to call it, lore, is something that always should be explored more. Big Rex fan. I was glad to see him this season. Yeah, I just love everything about the Bad Batch.
Yep, that was great to hear. And since Pete's not here, Nick, I'll tell you if you want to subscribe to the Sky Guys, you can do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all your usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys for your podcast platforms. You'll find all episodes there. And we got just 4 episodes of Bad Batch left after today, so you got to make sure you're on board for the end of the run here.
Hit the subscribe button. It's free.
It is free. And speaking of what else is free, you can follow social media for free. How can you do that?
You can follow at Sky Guys Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok.
Yeah, because check out the YouTube version, Mike Phillips on YouTube for the props and the graphics and the fun stuff here. And Joe, this is your first time on this guy, guys. Like a Bad Batch Pop Bridge here. I got one for you here. I got Lego Omega is here today.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. The old school hair.
Yeah, the season one.
That's yeah, the flow is coming out.
Yeah, the flow is coming out here. Very eventful Omega episode today here. But I think it's time to heads up for some Star Wars news. And Nick, I don't think there's a lot this week.
There's not. There's two things. First thing is Daisy Ridley says that she wants to see John Boyega return as Finn in her movie. I also read that she wants him to quote unquote finish the storyline, like in other words, be a Jedi.
Yep.
So that's what she wants.
Joe, do you want that?
It just concerns me now that everybody's really force sensitive. It used to be this cool, unique trait. Now it seems everybody's got it.
All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind here. Nick, what else we got?
Well, they say that the KOTOR remake is alive and well. The CEO of Saber Interactive said that who's remaking the game. So
We'll we'll
we'll
see.
see. We'll see. I mean, how long? I mean, in reality, I don't know anything about development of video games, but if you already have the story, you already have the game, like the base game, because you're remaking it. Realistically, how long does it take?
Well, I think
I
I
understand if you're making a game from scratch, it takes a long time. You got to develop the story, all the locations, this and that. This is all done already. It's just in terms of making it. So how long realistically should this take?
I think the issue is more they have to overhaul the combat system from 2003 and make it more 2024 appropriate. Because Joe, or did you ever play the KOTOR games?
I actually have not. That's one of the few I've yet to touch.
Well, personally from my experience, I tried playing and I was like, oh, this is tough.
Yeah, that's the issue is that they have to redo basically the combat mechanics. I feel like if you give them the Jedi Survivor combat mechanics of the story, I think you have a win.
Yeah, I tried it in 2022 and I'm like, this is very outdated. I'm sure, time it was fantastic, but now it's hard.
That's in the news department.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's go ahead and get to these 2 episodes here. Our last double pump of the season here. We got Identity Crisis and Point of No Return. Nick, I think
Last double?
was
This is the last double?
yes, the last double.
This finale is not a double?
It might be double length, but it's only 1 episode.
Oh, wow. I thought it was going to be, I was expecting a double for the finale, like a 2 episode finale.
Nope, we have 1 episode for the finale, episode 15.
But there's not 16.
I think it might be a longer length. That's my guess.
Oh, well, look at that. So we only have 4 more weeks total and 4 episodes. Okay, so yeah, continue your question.
Yeah, so I think obviously we got these 2 episodes today here, Identity Crisis and Point of No Return. I thought they were very, very, very good episodes.
Me too. I thought they were some of the best. I really enjoyed them, and I don't know about. I'm sure when we get into the episode specifically, maybe I'll change my mind on this, but I can't think of anything negative to say about either of them.
Yeah, Joe, what did you think of these 2 episodes?
Well, they're great, especially episode 11, or the second part of this double feature. I love a planetary siege.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get to the Planetary Siege Park. I do think it's very cool that like Pabu, which you've always only seen like at the daytime, we've only seen like the bright sunshine. We get in the dark when the Empire comes. That's pretty cool.
Yes, very.
Yeah, and let's get into this episode here. And Nick, one other thing I'll mention here is that they did a good job this season with the double, putting these 2 episodes, putting the 2 episodes together. I think all three made sense why they dropped the two together.
Completely agreed. This is the third time we've had a double, right?
Yep.
And all 3 times I watched the second episode and said, 'cause all 3 times I've been pissed off. I'll lead with that because I don't like when they do doubles because I have to watch twice as much when we come on here, and I don't like that because I have stuff to do. But after watching them all 3 times, I say, all right, I get it. I know why they did it. So I go from pissed off to understanding.
Yeah, the opener was a triple. Also, I forgot that. So it's a triple and two doubles.
Right. Yeah, the triple was the worst. It was terrible because I barely finished two in the morning before like on my commute
Yeah,
on the train. Barely. If I'm and only if they're shorter like today's were.
yeah,
So if you're giving me a little bit longer, like instead of 25 and 23, like 3 28-minute episodes, I don't know. I just can't watch them.
yeah.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying for sure. Let's get to the episodes though here. So we'll start with Identity Crisis here, episode 10. And we check in on Emerie Karr. We haven't seen in a minute here. And it turns out that Joe, she convinces Hemlock to give her a promotion because Nala Say was running the program that they were doing in the vault. And Nala Say is not cooperating anymore now that Omega was gone. So Emerie Karr says, let me do the job. And Hemlock says, okay. He gives her the job and tells her that Omega back because Omega's blood is the only one that can keep buying with samples of force sensitive children who they have in the vault replicate M counts in potential clones. So, what do you think about what we learned here in Emerie Karr, getting Emerie Karr in the spotlight this episode?
I really liked it and got into maybe I liked a little more of the science, but still, pretty good episode. I love the project name, Necromancer, a little foreshadowing, but it gives a little Lord of the Rings vibe there. I think and then, as soon as she walks in the door, you can kind of tell she's taken back from the overall, not goal necessarily, but how they're treating the patients, or their, as they like to say, specimens
Yep.
instead of people. So you don't want to get a personal attachment to them. Definitely not her style, and it kind of a similar theme with the clones, as they all have compassion.
Yeah, and Nick, what do you think about the reveal here that the secrets we've been hiding in the vault here are we have these force sensitive children who have been basically taken or being held there, and basically Hemlock says like Emery Carr asks him why don't we have more adults doing this, and he says the kids are easier to control than the adults, and there are not many adults left at this point.
It's I don't know. I mean, we continue to learn more and more about the Empire as the years go on with all these shows and movies and whatnot, and it never gets any better. Just continue to be amazed by how low they will sink. And this is no exception. I found it hilarious though that they had a red, a blue, and a green kid, so they were so easy to differentiate.
Yeah, cartoon
But
basics.
but yeah, like I said, it never ceases to amaze me. But the Empire just keeps going down and down.
Yeah, and Emery, we see she's bonding with the children, be experimenting on one named Eva, basically tries to become her best friend and says, hey, like Nala say told us we go home eventually, and Emery is forced to keep the lie up. The other kid, I think Jax, tries to escape. He gets stunned by Scorch and basically gets put in solitary for 2 days. He can't hang out with his friends, and it basically disturbs Emery to the point where she goes back to Nala's say's cell and says, what is up with this? And she basically learns the truth of like, hey, they're gonna be like kept alive basically in this room for the rest of their lives, just giving blood samples so they can make more of these force sensitive clones. So, Nick, what do you think about that?
Well, the first thing I think of is when I hear the name Jax, I
Yeah,
know I'm not the only one. I'm thinking about Mortal Kombat the entire time.
yeah,
I know you were too, Moan. That's all I could think about was Mortal
Oh
Kombat.
yeah, yeah.
But
Or
I really like I know I feel like we were clearly wrong. We can look at our predictions and we thought that Identity Crisis was going to be about
Tech.
uh, the clone trooper 2. What are we calling him?
Shadow clone number two.
Shadow clone number 2. We thought it was going to be Tech, which I still believe it is, but we thought it was going to be Tech under there. We were going to see his identity crisis with who he's become, but it seems like this identity crisis is Emerie Karr's identity crisis, and she's clearly seeing what's wrong with the Empire
Yeah.
in front of her eyes, and it's waking her up, and you can see it happen. You see it happening every scene more and more.
Yep. You definitely can see it here. And Joe, we also get in this episode here, we see there's a little interstitial beginning where we see like a feline species family like on a marketplace, and like there's a kid with a stuffed animal, like he's throwing a vase with the force, and somebody picks up on it and tips off our pal Cad Bane. Cad Bane takes the kid, finds out, oh, this is what the Empire's looking for, and brings us Emerie Karr because Emerie Karr goes to pick up the child here, and she's gets a very rude awakening in terms of how the Empire's doing this because Cad Bane basically is cagey what he's doing. Says, "Hey, I've been doing this for a while. It's not my first child here," and I just think to see Cad Bane in this spot where he's just sort of. We heard, I think, 2 weeks ago about how the Empire is commissioning bounty hunters to find kids with high M counts, and Cad Bane's on the list.
yeah, no surprise here. He's a shifty guy. He's, made his living via the Empire all these years. He definitely, as we saw, Darth Vader have all the bounty hunters on the deck of the starship. They were easily tappable by the Empire. And speaking of which, I love how he used the comm and talked directly to the Empire about force sensitive children. They're clearly everywhere, eyes and ears tapped in. Give a little punch code and you're given information.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think about the return of Cad Bane here? We teased about it preseason. Now we finally see it.
Fitting. This is when I expected him to come back, right? I mean, I didn't expect him to be in this episode. Like I was surprised at first, but it makes perfect sense that we would see Cad Bane at this point in the story. Um, and you see, like I said earlier, you see her learning more and more about the negatives of the Empire. I think it's leading to where how this season's gonna end with her, but you see it happen in front of your eyes. Also, shout out to Cad Bane's little droid friend, Toto. I like that guy.
Yeah, Toto had a good episode.
I like that guy a lot. I was upset that he wasn't in Boba Fett. I would have loved that.
Yeah. He could be on the ship for all we know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Could be off screen. And speaking of off screen here, Emerie Karr does bring the baby back. She feels guilty about how the kids are being treated. There's a confrontation with Ava about the Empire punishing them and lying to it. She makes a call here, Nick. She says, you know what, she kept the toy Omega had when Omega was a prisoner, and drops in the room for the children and says, hey, like, you're like, okay, it's sort of like a peace offering. It said, like, you guys deserve the right to be kids and not just be like test subjects of the Empire here. So, well, this is, again, the titular identity crisis.
Yeah. I mean, they do have that right, but unfortunately, they've been captured by the Empire. So for the foreseeable future, they don't have that right.
Yeah, Joe, the empathy from Emery Carr also is very interesting because, like, we assume that she was just like blindly loyal to Hemlock for most of the season, and that she's the one who tests Omega's blood the last time, figures out that that's what she's there for. So, at least given the events of the second episode, why we got this first.
Yeah, it's interesting. They kind of led us down one path, and now we see she's kind of has a heart. And wasn't when she was so cold to Omega, maybe she's had some time to think about that between, that point and now. I think she may be growing or finally realizing that the Empire's not all it's made up to be.
Yep. That's for sure here. And we'll close this part of the episode with the Hemlock stuff here that I saved for last. I think it's interesting here because Joe Hemlock gets basically called the card by Tarkin because Tarkin has not been around this season. He shows up and says, "Hey, you're taking a lot of money here. Like why? Like why do you need this much money?" And then he basically says, "My project is top secret, even above your pay grade, and Palpatine wants it." So I thought great power move by Hemlock there.
Yeah, just name dropping, the emperor. This is a very high importance to the emperor. It's like immediate shuts up. I guess he didn't want to bring that up to Palpatine himself. I want to, and I think of the robot chicken sketch for Papa Palpatine.
Yeah, and Nick, I do think it's also great where like he basically has a Tarkin in the back because Tarkin and me is like, oh, like if you need help, I'm here. I can be your buddy. I can help you do whatever you need. He's like, nah, I'm good. I got this.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't remember Tarkin being as high as he was at this point in the timeline, but I guess he is.
Yeah, and he's clearly being compartmentalized on this project.
But yeah, yeah, that's right. And then we get our friend Shadow Clone number two.
And Shadow Clone number two comes up here. He contacts him after he gets off the phone with Tarkin, and Shadow Clone number two says, "I got a lead. I broke down. I interrogated Trandoshan, and I figured out a bounty hunter that Target associates with here." So, Joe, a Sid name drop here.
Yeah, name drops everywhere. It's the power move, I guess.
Didn't he say a pirate?
He said a pirate she associates with. That's Fee Genoa. That's the
Yeah.
second
Right,
episode.
all right. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Got it.
Yeah, because she got the name. She got Fee Genoa's name out of Sid. Shadow Clone.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, that sort of sets up the second episode here, where we start with Fee Genoa. She shows up to get gas at a station. I don't see any. I didn't see any space whales, Nick.
No space whales.
Yeah.
Just a regular gas station. A regular Sunoco.
Yeah, she goes to the Sunoco. She gets tracked by Shadow Clone number two, who Joe, did she leave the door of her ship open?
I think so, but now I'm second guessing myself. She kind of expected somebody to be standing there, so that leads me to believe yes, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so Nick, I do think I noticed this. I thought like so Fijiana goes to like recharge her droid. She leaves the door of her ship wide open. Shadow Clone number two sneaks in, hacks in the computer, gets the information he needs, and tells Scorch, "Hey, I'm going to Pabu for recon." So bad job by Fijiana there, like not like locking her doors in the age of the Empire.
She looked around like she was suspicious, but not enough. Not enough.
This area of the galaxy, you don't lock your door.
That's right. You gotta. Everywhere in the galaxy, not, at this timeline. You just gotta, everyone's out to get everyone.
I mean, I grant you, like, if Shadow Clone number two wanted to get in the door, he was gonna get in the door, but like this is no resistance.
Yeah, no, you're right.
All right. So anyway, he gets to Pabu, and we get there, Joe, that the Bad Batch getting ready to leave because we saw Ventress last week tell them, "Hey, like you should get out of here. If I could find you, the Empire can find you." So they're getting ready to pack here. And I did think interesting scene here though. Mega leaves pieces of like herself behind on the planet. She leaves her friend Tex goggles, the broken goggles when he dies, and her stuffed animal she's been carrying around for 3 seasons. So interesting little spotlight moment there for Omega before we get chaos.
Yeah, she mentions that she felt like it's the first place to ever feel like home, which really hits. Poor girl was in a lab, then free, then back in the lab. So, and then free, and then back in the lab. It's just never ending for her. Now she's gonna be basically. I don't want to spoil. Let's keep going here.
Let's keep going here. And then while this is happening, Shadow Clone number two shows up. He hides in the same cave Ventress did. He does some recon. He sees they're planning to leave here. And it's very quickly, Nick, he plants a bomb on the Marauder, blows it up, and basically knocks Hunter out, well, knocks Wrecker out completely, the crazy here. So their ship is gone, Wrecker's hurt, and then the Empire comes to the Star Destroyer, runs to fall each other's reinforcements. So this is a hell of a start to his final mega campaign.
It is, and we're reaching that point in the show, the season where I wouldn't be shocked. So like when Wrecker's injured, I'm like, oh, this is it. Like I wouldn't be shocked if anyone starts dying in the next few episodes. But I would imagine it all happens if it happens in the finale. But that doesn't mean it would have to. For example, Kanan didn't die in the finale of Rebels.
Like 5 episodes earlier.
Right. Oh, yeah. Kanan died with some time to go there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if someone were to die coming up. So when that happened, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, is this it for Wrecker?" Because personally, I think Wrecker's going to die, and clearly not. But we get ourselves a nice little old-fashioned battle. We haven't seen one of these in a while, I feel like.
Yeah, he's out of commission for the rest of the episode, Record.
Well, yeah, I just mean in terms of the Empire and the and the Bad Batch and the planet, but the battle we get to see. So it's nice.
Yeah, and Joe, are you a big Harry Potter guy?
Yes, yes, whole family.
Yeah, to me, the ship blowing up sort of felt like the moment in Deathly Hallows when Hedwig dies. Because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the end of the nice thing we have, and now we're gonna be like dealing with shit for the rest of the book here. So I feel like this is sort of that. Or if you want to use a Star Wars comp, sort of like when the Razor gets blown up right before Grogu gets kidnapped.
Yeah, it's never good when stuff starts blowing up and people are getting hurt. You're down for the count and looking at a grim forecast coming in. I think I like the Harry Potter reference though. It reminds me of when he blows up the bridge and he breaks the bubble and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, not good. Anyway, we also see here that Joe, the Empire is just laying waste to this planet, laying waste to Pabu here. The mayor comes up, it's like, what's going on here? We're peaceful people. It's like they're like you're harboring a fugitive, like turn her over or the whole planet is destroyed. They're basically blowing up every dock, every ship that they could possibly find, which is gonna kill these people because they're fishing people. Basically, he's saying they're basically just taking this one paradise that he had in the show and just wrecking it.
Also, he's like, just wait to see what we can actually do. He's like, not even messing around. You took away their livelihood, as the mayor alludes, and they're in for a world of hurt if they don't get what they want.
Yeah, Nick, this is very strategic strikes by them because they made sure that they basically have no path to escape.
Yeah, true. They're pretty much stuck there, and they're gonna hold that plant ransom until they get what they want.
Yep. And we do see here that the plan they come up with here is that the team decides we're going to steal one of their gunships and escape on the gunship. And we send Hunter out to do this job here. Hunter basically gets on the ship. He's about to commandeer one here. And incredible shot from Shadow Club number 2 when he gets the message, hey, my ship's been hijacked. He says, you know what? I'm going to kill the pilot. And he snipes the pilot here with a crosshair like skill. And the ship goes down. Hunter goes down. Hunter was out of commission for the rest of the episode, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? You just summed that up pretty perfectly.
Really good planning.
Really good planning. Shadow Clone number 2 has been top of our one of towards the top, not the top, but the top towards the top of our MVP board for some weeks now, and it's showing why. It's a good character, and I'm excited when we find out that it's Tech.
Yeah, Joe, are you convinced it's going to be Tech?
I am leaning towards that. They seem to bring people back out of nowhere. I wouldn't be out of characteristic. I just hope it's not.
I always not either. I feel like if he's not stay dead, it ruins the meaning of the sacrifice he had at the end of season 2.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so
I mean,
now
yeah, we all agree that it shouldn't be in terms of like. I think it'd
story.
be worse for the show if he was, but I think he will be.
Yep. And then we get this big plan from Omega here. So Omega and Cross are the ones left. I think Patrick is even separated. He's going and he's like trying to attack some clones who are messing with villagers here. So Omega says, my plan is I'm going to turn myself in because the people of Pabu are suffering because of me. Like my plan is like will track me. They'll take me to Tantus. I want to go back to Tantus, and then you guys will track me. I'll hide a tracker on my body. Crosshair says they'll check for it. He says, okay, you just shoot one on the ship. So Joe, in terms of the plan here for Omega here, like in terms of the choice to give herself up to try and help these people here, what do you think it shows about her character?
He's definitely a genuine hero and willing to do anything for anybody she cares about, and probably most that she doesn't. I think she's given up the ultimate sacrifice to save, at least the planet that she calls home. So let's put it that.
Nick, what do you think about this plan she comes up with here?
Selfless,
Yep.
very very strong growth in the character. Maybe not the best plan, Like it didn't work, but still, the thought that counts, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate the heroic gesture because these people would have
Yeah.
been like basically like slaughtered if they couldn't find her before long. And we do see Crosshair argues against the plans, makes it go along with it. Omega turns herself in here, and Nick, the foreshadowing of Crosshair's hand pays off here again because they find the tracker she has on her. He tries to shoot the ship. He falls short. His hand flinches the last second here. So the Crosshair mental jinx comes back and bites them.
Yeah, it does. But so we lose Omega at this point with no way of tracking her. But I think we will get her back.
We got 4 episodes to do it.
Yep, I think we will.
Joe, any thoughts on the Crosshair failing to get the job done at the end of the episode in terms of getting that tracker on the ship?
Yeah, it definitely didn't look well when he didn't make the shot at the end and his hand slipped. But I thought his shots before then and taking out the troopers definitely dead on. So I think there's some growth or redemption rather at the next 4 episodes for Crosshair here.
Nick always felt like that, like the when he was fighting for his life against the storm against the clone troopers, like it was instinct, and he was sort of like okay, going on and on, like sort of his reflexes kicked in, whereas he had to think about the shot for Omega. That's sort of like when the twitch came.
Yeah, I mean maybe he has like a tell or something. I don't know. Like you know what I
Got the
mean?
yips.
Yeah,
So Crosshair is now Steve Garvey.
maybe.
Cognava.
All right. So anything else you guys want to add on the 2 episodes before we get to the trackers and whatnot?
Good.
No, nothing from me.
All right. So after last week, Nick, where we had no trackers, yet we actually had 3 hit this week.
What were they?
First up, we got another planet here. We had the Marketplace planet where the feline family lives. So that's now 10 planets on the season.
We don't know what that is, right?
No, it's just an unnamed planet.
But it's possible that it's a planet we visited before, but we just don't know. So it's safe to say it's a new planet.
I think it's safe as a new planet here. Also, Joe, we got a live action cameo here with Tarkin. So 3 live action cameos.
That's pretty awesome. I love seeing Tarkin. I wish she gets some more time. Not on maybe not on the batch, but over the next installations.
Yeah, and last but not least here, Nick, we had the name clone tracker went up to 32. So we got a bunch of appearances here. We got Emerie Karr, Scorch a couple times. Our 3 clone kids, Mox, Deke, and Stack came back here. We got Shadow Clone number 2 a couple of times here. So 32 name clones this season.
A lot. It's a lot. It's more than I expected. And for planets, we also like it doesn't count, but we had talked about this off the air. We did kind of see Coruscant.
We went near Coruscant. We didn't actually go on
We
Coruscant.
didn't go on it, so we're not going to count it. But we were pretty much right there.
Yeah, we were on a space station above orbiting Coruscant.
Yep.
All right, so next up here, the MVP LVP board. These are the best and worst characters of the episode, is rated by us on the Sky Guys over the course of the season. This is where things stand after 9 episodes here. Crosshair's on top of the board at +5. Ventress +4 in her solo episode last week is now second. Dr. Hemlock and Shadow Clone number 2 are tied for third +3. Nalase, Fennec Sham +2. Omega, Emerie Karr, Kevin Kiner from Nick, and Hauser are +1s. -1s, CX1, the other Shadow Clone number 1 from the 2-parter is -1. The Go Night Squid from last week got a -1 from Max Roberts. Rex a -2, Echo -2, Wrecker got a -3. Hunter and K9X1 are -4, and Imperial Security is at -6. So that's the board right now. So, Joe, anything you want to say before we move on?
Imperial security is always laxed,
Yeah, they are very bad at their jobs.
and they can't aim for anything.
Yep. So let's go ahead here. Let's go to the MVP section here. So we'll go 2 each for these episodes. We got 2 episodes, 2 MVPs. Nick, who are your 2 MVPs?
So funny because we're talking about Imperial security. I'm not giving them an MVP, but they look pretty good in this episode. The way that they had like that vault secured with the kids in them. But my MVPs are going to be Emerie Karr and Omega.
Okay.
or the episodes, I guess in that order. It doesn't really matter what order I give them, but that's in that order. I think that they, especially in the first episode, Emerie Karr ran the episode. It was her episode. It was centered around her 100%. We learned about the character, and I see her taking a turn where I would be shocked if she didn't aid Omega in her escape by the end of the season. Absolutely shocked. And Omega giving the MVP simply because of what we talked about, her selfless act.
Yep. Okay, Joe, your two MVPs.
Just want to go back to Imperial Security there real quick.
Yeah.
Love the plasma beam security on the lab or the vault rather. Phantom Menace vibes all the way. 25th anniversary come around. Super nostalgia.
So are
Anywho,
you giving them a point?
I mean, nah, 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 nah. I just want to talk about the plasma beams. Is
Okay.
Nick knows how much I love episode one.
All right. So what are you doing with your MVPs?
I'm gonna go with Emery. I think I do now. Now I gotta change up my number two because then I tie Nick with both of them. What? Give it to Omega. It's too good on the episode. Hopefully she finds a way out of this one.
Okay, so Emerie Karr is up to now +3 on the season, which is nice for her. So is Omega. She's back up there. I'm gonna make it a +4 on Emerie Karr. She did a actually, you know what? Like I'm gonna go two different directions here because you guys have done a good job on this one. So I'm gonna give Hemlock a point for owning Tarkin in this conversation. I thought that was a very good job by him, basically telling one of the biggest bosses, "Hey, you don't get in my business," and getting no blowback for it. I also give Shadow Clone number two a point because Shadow Clone number two wrecked the second episode. He did a very good job, just like
Yeah.
neutralizing Pabu entirely.
It just makes you think he's tech all the way. Possibly doing it on purpose.
Very possible. And Pete's not here, but he will update his MVPs next week for these two episodes. He'll give us two MVPs next week here. So next, I hear the LVPs. Joe, where are you going with your LVPs for these episodes?
LVP, gonna have to go with the Empire. It's episode number 10. They just suck. Really, really bad.
Just they suck.
And then I gotta give it. I hate it, but Crosshair gotta make those shots. Come on,
Okay.
hope for a little redemption here.
Yeah, so -1 for the Empire, and Crosshair loses a point. All right, so I'm up now here. Nick, I'm going to take the opportunity to ding Sid even though she was not on the episode, we revealed that she's the one who gave the information up here. So I can't take a chance to not give Sid LVP points and give her one here. And the other one's going to be the Fee General. Lock the damn door. This is not that hard. You're in a very disturbing galaxy. Like, you should not be leaving your door wide open for people to plant bombs in your ship and hacking your information. So Sid and Fee General for me. So what are you doing?
My first one is going to go to Jax. So, like, his little escape plan. We saw the way in the vault at the beginning of the episode. Even if he opened that door, he has about a mile to go. There was a dumb plan. He's not getting out. What is he thinking? Even if he gets past that door, he has to get through all the, what are they called? The Phantom Menace beams. What are they called again?
Plasma doors.
The plasma cutter stuff. Then he has like six other troopers right outside that door. To then, if he gets past all them, an entire station filled with other troopers and whatnot. So I don't know what he was thinking. Gets the LVP. Well deserved punishment at that point. And the other one, it kind of pains me to say it, but it's got to be, I think it's got to be Hunter.
Yeah.
In that, like, it's every episode, this guy's failing. He's, if we took the characters from the Bad Batch, meaning Crosshair, Hunter, Wrecker, I'll even say Echo and Rex, and combine their LVP, MVP points, they're like -30. I mean, not 30, 13.
Yeah, Crosshair's the only one the positive of that group.
They are not doing well collectively as a group.
No,
it's weird if I had to ask you who is the worst set of characters in the Bad Batch, and I said the Bad Batch. It's weird. And they're not bad characters, it's performing bad this season.
Yes, they are. All right, so now we're going to the grades of the episodes. You're rating this on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worse than 1978 Holiday Special. 10 is up here at the Prison Break episode and or in terms of the pinnacle of Star Wars content here. So I'll start episode 10 here. I'm gonna give this one a 9. I was very happy with what I was here. I like getting the backstory. I like seeing Emerie Karr do interesting things here. Getting information was helpful here. And he moved the plot forward in a big way. And plus, Hemlock beat Hemlock is fun. So that's a 9 for me. Nick, what do you think?
Do you want me to give my number?
Yeah, number for episode 10.
Oh, okay. I thought we were doing both together. I see they were doing them separate. Okay.
Yeah.
Also 9. Great episode. Loved it. No issues at all. The only reason it's not a 10 is there was no Maul and Vader running around.
All right. So next up here, Joe, your grade for episode 10.
Make it 9 cubed. Great episode. Just wish we saw, I don't know, a little more of the lab. Really like to see a little more M count. Call me crazy. Love Metachlorian. As I said before, episode 1 all day.
All right, that sounds good here. And episode 11 here. Nick, give us your grade for the episode 11.
I'm also going to give it a 9. I thought a lot of action, a lot of fun, great ending. Puts us in a almost kind of at the edge, like a cliffhanger, and like what's going to happen. It's not really a cliffhanger because we're not like, it's a little different than them revealing something right at the end. But I'm still very excited to see what comes next. And in my opinion, that's a cliffhanger, right?
Thank
So yeah, ready to see what happens next. It's a good episode, and they played it off really well.
Yeah, episode 12 is available. Nick, what to hit next?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I want to watch episode 12 right now.
Yeah. Joe, your grade.
I give her a 10 out of 10. As I alluded to before, Planetary Siege. It's a great way to have an episode. Empire showing up, Star Destroyers blowing stuff up. It's fine. I got in Star Wars.
All right, I'll go with a 9 here as well. These two complement each other so well. I can't give one a higher grade than the other. So they're both getting 9s for me.
It's funny to me when Pete goes into this dock to make his things, and he's thinking, "Oh, those episodes sucked," and he sees us all 9s and 10s. You go, "Oh God!" He wants to give it a 4, and he's gonna have to give it a 7 just because we're gonna make fun of him.
Yeah. All right, so last but not least here, predictions for episode 12, which is called Juggernaut. That's the title of the episode here. So, Joe, what do you think is going to happen next week?
I think Wrecker's gonna wreck stuff and be Juggernaut.
Wrecker is the Juggernaut.
I think Wrecker is the Juggernaut.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, or is that what you got?
I don't think they're getting Omega back yet. I think they're gonna have to do a little investigating. I think it's gonna lead them to have them do yet another job, and you're gonna see, like I said, Wrecker be the Juggernaut.
All right, so my theory here is like I'm going back to the trailer again. Nick, what's one of the biggest things we have not seen from the trailer yet?
Oh, I don't remember. You have to say I don't remember.
One of the very first things you saw in the trailer was the scene where Fee Genoa and their team are like trying to raid a convoy.
Oh no.
I think we're getting that next episode. They got to figure out something.
That's a side quest.
I think the Fee Genoa side quest is coming here. I think they're gonna go like try and go attack a convoy to get some more ammo, get a new ship, and figure out where Omega is. Nick, what do you think?
I think well, I'll be honest, I wasn't gonna say your thing until you said it, but I'm kinda gonna mix your answers together. I think we'll get that Fee Genoa side quest, but I think in that side quest, Wrecker will be the Juggernaut. I'm talking he's gonna get one of those helmets and a minigun and just unload on people, and I'm gonna take a chance because we don't lose points if we're wrong here. You don't gain points if we're right. So I think Wrecker's gonna die next week.
So Wrecker dies next week.
He goes out like a champion, saving them. He's looking. They're all getting on the ship. He says go, and then he dies, and they escape. Something like that. I think Wrecker will die a honorable death during the side quest or towards the end of the side quest.
All right, so that's what we got here this week. Very fun episode here, Joe. Once again, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. Pleasure's really mine.
All right. And Nick, one more time. People follow us on social media. How can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast. It's on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok.
You can also follow me on social media, mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS 331. This week over on the Just and the Suffering podcast, we continue our March Madness coverage. Troy Mauriello came back down here to preview the Final Four, recap the second week of the NCAA tournament. Nick, how's your bracket looking?
Oh, no, it's done. I don't even know. I don't remember honestly. I know my champion is not in it anymore. I picked Arizona, but I don't even know who I had in the other Final Four spots. So no good.
I have UConn alive as my champion, but I'm not going to win the pool. We had too much other, nothing else happened right for me after the first weekend.
Yeah, I don't even know who I picked outside of Arizona. So let's just say I know it's no good.
Yeah, it is no good here. We'll be back next week. Pete will be back next week as well. We're going to cover the Juggernaut next week, figure out if Wrecker is the Juggernaut, if he does die next week. But until then, may the Force be with you.